when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. Nike struck gold. So, why in the world are they ignoring her? Her actions have put them in danger, and they have made the biggest mistake of their lives. Caitlin just wants to play basketball as much as she can. She's also involved in this political agreement, absorbed in this discussion about race, and interacting with Nike, a company that landed her a low-cost contract. Wilson declined to release a single Caitlin Clark advertisement and will not release a Caitlin Clark sneaker because Nike has decided to give up, telling her that they will wait to market her until after they have finished promoting Asia since 2021. Nike's value has dropped by more than $100 billion. Due to the grave conditions, their CEO was forced to depart and many people demanded that he be fired. Are sports becoming less popular? What is the current status of Nike's business? And how does it relate to Caitlin Clark? As the WNBA season got underway this year, it was revealed that Caitlin Clark had signed a lucrative endorsement deal worth $28 million. The deal lasted for 8 years and included a signature sneaker, which wasn't particularly noteworthy, but was a fair price for a generational snack, given that they might have just signed one of the biggest players of the next 20 years. Everyone else believes that Nike has tea, but nothing really happened at the time. Since she signed this contract, Nike hasn't done much to promote her. No advertisements have been shown to us. No Caitlin Clark merchandise has been spotted, and we haven't seen any of her signature footwear, but there have been some encouraging developments. One of the few generational talents that can produce, LeBron James has signed billions of dollars, and Nike has just given up a lot right now, you guys. Her WNBA season has come and gone. When Caitlin Clark went viral in college, she had already signed a non-binding contract with Nike, making her the most well-known collegiate player in the nation. She was twice as popular as Angel Ree, who finished second and 4 times more popular than the most popular male player, Caitlin Rose. When she turned pro, she was courted by several shoe manufacturers and would represent the Curry brand as the face of Under Armour Adidas. Nike had no intention of making a shoe for her, so why not? There hasn't been an update on her signature sneaker yet, and this one is absurd. Everyone was hoping for one. The most unexpected aspect of this is that, as you may recall, Nike ran advertisements featuring Caitlin Clark during her time playing basketball for Iowa, where she broke the records for both men and women in the state. Nike then erected a huge billboard with the words, "You own it if you break it." This has since occurred in Iowa as well, but they have since released new materials and advertisements after taking home yet another MVP award. According to this 2-year timeline, Clark's shoe might be available in stores in 2026 or 2027. But Asa Wilson disclosed an amazing truth regarding Caitlin Wilson, whose sneaker is anticipated to be released in the spring of 2025 after development started in 2023. Why is the 2027 in any case? There are things going on at Nike behind the scenes this year, and their stock has dropped by almost 20%. Nike argues that it's a long process that requires Clark and the Nike employees to collaborate, such as producing millions of pairs and running an advertising campaign. So, why are they acting so distantly? I am aware that many factors went into their hiring and firing decisions, but each one seems so minor and inconsequential in comparison to the treasure trove that is Caitlin Clark. Even though I know they're attributing some of it to politics, I believe that Caitlin Clark's lack of exposure, endorsements, ads, merchandise, and other things she should have earned during her rookie season has more to do with politics. After all, 20 years ago, Nike seized the opportunity to produce LeBron Clark sneakers and moved quickly. This man was crucial, but there's a reason they can't do the same for Caitlin Clark. And it turns out that there hasn't been a night commercial featuring Clark as a professional, even though it wasn't exactly forced on the public. Given that some people think that Caitlin Clark's 4 years as the biggest sports personality in the world have driven these television numbers. Adidas and Nike both wanted to sign LeBron James in 2003, and the top item on their list was a signature sneaker, the Reebok. However, before he signed, Nike began making his sneakers because they wanted the story to remain secret. So, they came up with a code name inside LeBron that was spelled backwards. Zoom Noble. If that's how they justify it, then Nike is lying. It was clear that they had selected a Zoom generation, and without LeBron's knowledge, They began producing sneakers for him while he was still in high school with the intention of completely overwhelming him. This worked when he made his NBA debut, even though he set records and wore Kobe sneakers. However, even though the plan had long put Caitlyn on the longest contract ever, Nike chose to ignore her because they are focused on someone else, which is why she hasn't appeared in a Nike commercial yet. In summary, Benny and Nike investigated the marketing potential of a generation and are using it to promote outdated products. Why is this happening, and where is the money? Respectable writer with strong connections. According to Ethan Strauss, it is confirmed that Ozza Wilson, a Nike athlete in the WNBA, is involved. However, Wilson's peculiar behavior is related to the company's culture, which prioritizes reducing noise over creating the kind of noise that Nike wants. In fact, after Caitlyn Clark agreed to a $28 million deal with Nike, the following headline appeared in a reputable newspaper claiming that Caitlyn Clark would be receiving her own shoe, which is the reason for the agitation. This is in addition to the fact that, according to contacts with insiders, it is unquestionably connected to Nike athlete and WNBA VP, even though Caitlyn Clark chose to wear her own women's basketball benefits from sneakers. What's wrong? Some supporters claimed that white WNBA players were the only ones who were involved. Many people believe that A'ja Wilson, a player for the Las Vegas Aces who had never participated in a WNBA game, should have received her own sneaker before Clark. She had the most momentum of any athlete in history after participating in a national championship game that attracted over 20 million viewers. I wonder if I were Caitlyn Clark's management again. I have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, but I would seriously be reevaluating the deal I signed given that night. He missed out on this opportunity despite being the world's largest athletic sportswear brand, and we heard nothing from them during the entire season. This was followed by a straight draft in his rookie season during which he broke an absurd number of records and won Rookie of the Year, though the precise announcement has not yet. How can you pass up a chance like that if Caitlyn Clark and A'ja Wilson both dropped their sneakers today? At the same time, I do believe that they would sell 100 times more than A'ja Wilson's. I'm sorry to everyone for breaking the news, but that's the reality. No matter how fair it may be, even though A'ja is a 3-time MVP, her jersey sales were 6 more than in the league, even behind Kate Martin, who played very little in the second half. We saw that the WNBA's top jersey sales this season were not the actual numbers. Do you think that this scared Nike? Yes, it is their goal is not to grow the WNBA. Rather, it is to focus on inclusion, equity, and diversity. What they're doing to Caitlyn Clark is crazy. It's misguided and lacks long-term vision. Therefore, Caitlyn is not incompetent at basketball. Rather, she is racially and unfairly biased. Why would Nike put justice before profits? Even worse considering that this clearly reveals a racial agenda. Why would Nike back down if they had just moved on in the most profitable way? It wouldn't have been as problematic, but they are hiding behind tenuous excuses like falling sales and layoffs. They still have a lot of time to complete the AA tasks later in his story. Ethan made a great comparison between Tim Duncan and Allen Iverson. Even though Duncan was obviously the better player, Wilson said that since their WNBA department is still in operation, they should just give Caitlyn some time because they are aware of what is going to happen. As has happened in the past, AA will be forgotten and Nike will have to pay for a contract that isn't making enough money in the NBA. Since Iverson controlled shoe sales, no one voiced concerns about fairness. In fact, Nike tested Tim Duncan sneakers twice before discontinuing them due to poor sales. But you know who didn't care if A'ja Wilson were like Tim Duncan? Even though Caitlyn Clark's situation might be different, it seems reasonable that Isa enjoys being featured in Nike ads. She seems to accept the notion that it is racist, but consider what she said to her teammate Kelsey Plum about seeing Paige Bucker as another white Plum athlete. Thank you. Most people want to be in advertisements and on billboards because it is profitable. But Ace's response suggests that Paige's wealth has contributed to her success. The coach of the Lynx in the USA said that there are other teams playing tonight besides Caitlyn Clark etc. Of course, she is a fantastic basketball player, but if AA is the top female athlete representing Nike, they don't want to annoy her. The WNBA tweeted about the first preseason game in which Caitlyn Clark made a notable appearance. If Nike had offered Caitlyn a pair of sneakers immediately, Many people would have been upset when a WNBA and Olympic coach used the hashtag that stands for multiple athletes during the 22-year-old's preseason debut. However, that wasn't all that happened. Caitlin was exempted from the Team USA roster, as was to be expected, with the explanation that she still hadn't earned it. Yes, it's a basketball decision after leading all rookies in assists, field goals, and points. It's not jealousy, despite the fact that only 300,000 people usually attend WNBA games. Caitlin was chosen for the first team based on her thefts and minutes played. She also received 4 votes for MVP because she topped all players in assists and three-pointers to accommodate everyone. Even though her games were able to attract over 1 million television viewers, her first-round playoff ticket costs more than the total of the previous WNBA playoff games. In spite of all the excitement, the Washington Mystics recently hosted Caitlin's team, the Indiana Fever, and had to move to the Wizards Arena, setting a new record for WNBA attendance. Ultimately, she is truly amazing. I want to make it clear that even though Nike made a big deal out of signing Caitlin Clark, they haven't issued a statement congratulating her on winning the championship. Team USA acknowledged that it was a mistake to leave her off the list, and now the day is coming when Nike will regret it. Fans are also beginning to notice, which is causing Nike to face a lot of backlash. Take a look at these comments. Row 82. Although the WNBA has not yet announced the roadie winner, the Adidas representative praised CE's accomplishments in a lengthy article. I'm shaking my head because it seems strange that I haven't seen any Nike advertisements featuring Caitlin Clark since she turned pro and won Rookie of the Year. She looks like a huge mess, receiving tens of millions of dollars in compensation, but she still doesn't own a single shoe. The WNBA is a toxic environment, so it makes sense for Aided to celebrate Caitlin Clark's incredible rookie season while her sponsor Nike stays silent to avoid upsetting Asia. This will allow a heterosexual Catholic woman who identifies as